And hi guys, welcome to our interview tonight. Tonight I'm interviewing Maree Wiggins, who is one of the Reconciliation Ambassadors. Good evening, Maree.
Hi AJ, it's great to be here.
So the first question I've got is, who are you, and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Maree Wiggins and I've been an early childhood professional since about 1976. You can do the maths. I am retired now, but I've had the most wonderful journey with lots of children and families. I sit on the foundation for the graduates of early childhood studies, and we do lots of grants. So yes, very happy woman at the moment.
And you've been part of the Rap
group,
yes. AGECS.
Oh, AJ, that's the most amazing thing to ever do. So 2006 is when it started, and I sort of looked at it and I thought, oh, I have to find someone to do it with. And then I thought, well, then I have to find people who are really like-minded. And then, so it sort of snowballed from there. And sitting on the Association of Graduates and Early Childhood Studies Council was a great opportunity. Unfortunately, it didn't happen until, a couple of years ago. And it took that long to get a group of people organised to do it, but so worth doing. We're doing the Reflect Rap, which is the start, and it's quite beautiful. And we've also actually spent we've actually extended the time on this Reflect Rap, and I think that's so apt because there's so much in it, and really it's a commitment, and you need to be, looking into it with your heart, not just ticking the boxes.
What does Australia Day mean to you?
Oh, makes me sick, makes me really sick. I've been very honoured and humbled to be working with Aboriginal communities in early childhood, and I was told exactly what it meant to them. And I'm such a white person that I wouldn't have even thought of it, how it affected them. But also I did know that the 26th of January is Mourning Day, and that's been around since about 1930 something. Yeah, no, I don't believe in it at all.
What do you think Aboriginal people might think about Australia Day?
Oh, see, I find that difficult to talk about what Aboriginal people think, but because of what they've told me that they feel like they're nobody. They feel like they don't exist. They feel like they're just always pushed over. They feel like they're always being told what to do. It's not. Only from what they've told me, AJ. I don't want to talk for them. They're strong communities. I don't need to talk for them.
What are ways in which early childhood education could educate other staff or kids about the true histories of the First Nations people? What are ways in which early childhood education could educate other staff or kids about the true histories?
Okay, I am very strong on this. They must read. They must read books written by Aboriginal authors. And there's the Macquarie pen anthology of Aboriginal protest letters and stories. That's a great way to start. Actually understand and feel where Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are coming from. That would be the first thing. Understand, listen. And look, a lot of us like talking, but listening is better. And just, there's so much you can do by just doing something yourself rather than just going up to another Aboriginal person saying, well, can you just tell me about that's, to me, that's wrong. Learn first, be respectful. Yeah.
And how about teaching kids in classrooms?
That should be, again, from Aboriginal families or Aboriginal locals in the area who live around the area. There's Aboriginal cooperatives. Find out from them and see if they will come and organise for them to maybe do some activities, but don't do just things off your back. You don't know. You don't know. So Read stories. There's some beautiful stories out there to the children, and you can answer questions best you can, but you need to go to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people.
So what does reconciliation mean to you?
That's a really good question. It's my commitment to showing respect and building relationships with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. It's me actually doing things as well and learning more. That's what I love about it. I learn so much more.
How can you explain to young kids about reconciliation?
Wow. The children are always curious. I mean, it would come from reading a book. So say if I read a book that was written by an Aboriginal author, and then going on from the conversations there, I wouldn't say to early childhood children, now we're going to do a rap. It's a reconciliation action plan. I would just keep answering their questions honestly and from the heart, and say, look, who can we really ask? Who would really know? And go from there.
What activities can you do in the classroom that actually demonstrates reconciliation?
Yes. So when I was visiting centres, we did a lot of having acknowledgement of country on the walls. We set up with artists, Aboriginal artists, to do murals on kindergarten walls. We always involved Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, if we were given activities to do, we would do those as well. But we'd note too that it was, Auntie Faye or Auntie Annette, or it was someone who actually had shown me what to do.
Yep. I'll ask you a question now. What is your dream for reconciliation in the future?
Self-determination. That's the big one. I just have visions of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people being so respected that they are leading, that we are looking for them for leadership. We are looking for them to look after our environment. We are looking to them for how to nurture children. We are looking for them to learn how to listen and to tell stories, to share stories.
If you had to advise anybody else who's on their reconciliation journey, where would you suggest they start?
Go to now I've got to read this, the Narragansett website. I love that website. It is just so user-friendly. You can feel it talking to you, and you can ask any questions and you'll find that answer on that website.
So where are some places that early childhood educators could go to start educating themselves about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander history and the contemporary issues?
Okay. Read and go to authentic websites. The Aboriginal cooperatives, they've got their websites. But this crazy big book, the Macquarie Pen Anthology of Aboriginal Literature and Poetry, is something that will set you up. It starts in the early 1800s, or late 1800s, with letters and stories written by Aboriginal people about the protesting of what was happening to them. And that's the true history. They kept writing to people to say, we are not getting what you told us we were getting. We are being treated badly. This has been going on for far too long.
Yep. What language area are you living in at the moment?
I'm living on Wadawurrung country, but it's also can be called Wathaurong country or Wadawurrung country. And I made a huge mistake. AJ, it was terrible. I asked someone why there was different names, and he just said, because there are. And I said, well, you can't have different names. And he just looked at me and he said, we can. And I said, I apologise. And I will say, and I've been told Wadawurrung, but then other people will say Wathaurong or Wadawurrung.
How much history tracing or learning around the Wathaurong people, and how did you do that?
I have. The Aboriginal Cooperative had a gorgeous book that they put out for non-Aboriginal people to read, and that gives you information about how the Wadawurrung people lived on country. There was just so much information about it. I've also gone to, and this is other sites as well, where you go to history sites or historical sites around Geelong. They'll have some history, but the history is presented very differently. So it's presented about how they removed people, or they kept moving people out, or they kept taking over their land. So pretty much they're sort of reinforcing what they were doing. It is written by colonisers as well.
What would be two things that every educator should know about working with First Nations families?
One, you need to show respect. You need to be very, very welcoming, and you need to ask them questions about themselves, and to let them, not let them, but then they will tell you who they are and their mob, but this is what they want to tell you. I remember 1980, I had a kindergarten teacher say to me, she said, "Oh, I've got this Aboriginal assistant and she just keeps talking about herself." And I said, "Yeah, because she wasn't allowed to, and now she is, and listen, and maybe let her sit down, get her to sit down with the children. They can listen as well."
So what do you believe are the major barriers to early childhood educators about incorporating First Nations perspectives into curriculum?
Yeah. We often hear early childhood professionals saying they're not sure where to start. Okay, that's easy enough. Do go to the Narragansett website. They also say they don't want to offend anyone. Now, gosh, I mean, I don't know how many times I've opened my mouth and I've put one foot in and had to swap feet. But I was told what I'd said was wrong, and that was fine. And that I've learned from that. So be willing to say something, but know that if you're told, then that is good, because then that person who's telling you knows that you can learn from this. The other barrier is that I feel that I understand is that for many Aboriginal families, they have strong sense of family within their communities, but when they come out into our white communities, that's a barrier because we're not as welcoming. And even though we think we're trying to be, we haven't asked them, how can I make this more welcoming for you?
What do you think are some of the barriers for early childhood educators in teaching Aboriginal kids?
There shouldn't be any barriers. I say that, and that's such a poor thing to say. There are barriers. There's this them and us, and I'm not sure why that should be, but they do. Some people can have that feeling that, well, I'm not sure what to do with the Aboriginal families. Such a wrong way to start. Go up, start chatting. Open your heart and say, look, this is new for me, and I apologise. I want to do this right. What can I do to help? That's probably the best way. Always be honest, and always never assume. Yeah, don't make assumptions. You're making an assumption from a person who's non-Aboriginal, and that is so wrong. Talk to Aboriginal families and ask them what would work for them.
And what are some ways in which early childhood educators could start that journey in recognising what the barriers are and creating strategies to overcome them?
Yeah, big question. First thing is read the true histories, read the stories of, I think it was it Tony Birch who wrote The White Girl? Amazing story, but so many emotions in there about how Aboriginal people were treated and how they had to sort of hide and they had to wait till they were given permission. Get a real understanding of what people have been through, and just know that you'll never come from that same position. You've always had the privilege, the white privilege. And strategies, I'm not sure. Every person's going to be different and they're going to start differently. But if you start with respect respect. There's so much media out there that just wants to put on a show of wrong things about Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people. Start with respect and really go and understand what Aboriginal people and not Torres Strait Islander people have been through, and then ask them, okay, what can I do? How can I help? Yeah, I remember when had some gorgeous Aboriginal children, Glenda Thorpe approached me and said, can the Aboriginal Health Centre bring their children? And I said, sure. And so we were talking about, I said, what would we want to do? And one of the children said, I want a big turtle. I said, no problems. we'll make a big turtle. I'm not sure how to do it. But he found all this big paper and he said, just put them all together, and he was getting kids to put designs on them. And then he said, well, we have to have it round. And so we stuffed it up and, just ask and, be willing to follow rather than, being leading.
What has been your personal journey of learning about Aboriginal cultures? When did you start learning about them?
I've been so lucky, AJ. I really have. In Fitzroy, in collaboration, we set up an Aboriginal kindergarten, as well as they would come to my group too. I've even been in, when I was at Yapra, one of the elders came to me and said, come with me. And I said, sure, I'll just leave all my children. I'll come with you. But with the greatest respect. There was, because she would never tell me to do something unless I had to do it. So I went, and I don't know if I'm going to cry, but I met her niece, who she had never met before. Yeah. And it was so profound. And Nan was just, I shouldn't say, but she was so happy. She just wanted to share it. But she said to me, now you know. Now you know. And I went, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Question, what did you learn at school about Aboriginal people?
Oh, disgusting stuff. It was really disgusting, that they, that they're not, there's no Black Aboriginal people left. They've all been, assimilated out. And I've met so many Aboriginal people say, hey, I don't exist. And there's not many, that there's hardly any. They don't have a lot going for them. They're just sort of nomads and wandering around doing nothing. No, it was terrible stuff. Yep.
Oh, I'm going to ask you a question. During your early childhood studies, did you learn about any Aboriginal issues or strategies then when you were learning?
No. And I'm glad I didn't, because when I was approached to help run an Aboriginal kindergarten, I was very open. Yeah. I mean, I'm so wide, I could have been so easily swayed to, just try and set it up myself, where, I said, yep, let's go. What do you want to do?
Do you have any First Nations idols that you look up to?
Dr. Anita Hayes, because I do love her writing. I really do. And she's just such a positive person. And she's in everything. And I love all her posts. Now, Adam Goods, I thought, wow, so strong. Yeah. And very, it was just so powerful to see him, do what he did and to put up with the flack that he put up with. And still people did not see the racist fucking comments that came from those people who are interviewing him and twisting things around. And he stood his ground. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He makes my heart sing, that man. Yeah.
What tips and strategies would you offer early childhood educators who may have no idea where to start their personal journey?
Okay. Again, go to the Narrangully website and read that, and start checking out locally who is around you. Don't be frightened. There's no fear. Just keep searching, do it yourself. Don't keep asking people what to do. Start yourself. And as soon as you start that journey, you're going to go far, because then you've made the commitment and you've made it important.
Have you had an experience working on reconciliation action plans?
I have. The Association of Graduates in Early Childhood Studies Reflect RAP. I'm on that now. We're in our second year.
Yeah. What were the easy things about the RAP, and what were some difficult things about doing a RAP?
The easy thing was the Narran Gully website, because I thought, right, I thought I knew, and then I went to this website and I started reading. I thought, right, I know a lot more, and that was really good. The easy thing too was we were very lucky to have, AJ, and AJ, you've been a great guide and able to support us with other Aboriginal guidance as well. So having other Aboriginal people there, that for us was easy. I know it'll be hard for other people, but that it was easy. I acknowledge that, because I know it will be hard for other people.
What were some hard things about doing RAPs?
I felt really overwhelmed with the beginning of the RAP. I just felt that we had so much to do, and I felt like I was just galloping with it. And then when it was agreed that we do a second year, I thought, yay, we can all just sort of, it can become part of us now, and we can be part of it as well. That was about all. There's a lot to do, but you do it.
Advice on where would you start if you want to do a RAP?
Go to the Narran Gully website, and also start talking around, because doing a RAP is part of an organisation. So check which other like-minded people you're going to be doing it with, and know what you're talking about. So go to the Narran Gully website and know what you're talking about, and start looking for an Aboriginal elder or consultant.
Yep. What are some things that you wouldn't do if you were wanting to start a RAP?
Okay. Try to take over. Yes, a lot of us are very good leaders, and we really need to sit on our hands and button our lips. That would be the hardest thing that I found. I can tend to sort of want to jump in and run with things and not take over, but I think, oh, great, I can do that. And so don't do that.
And the last question is, why is having a reconciliation action plan so important?
Because it's the beginning. You're showing commitment. You're doing something yourself, and you are also being guided by Aboriginal people around you who are part of the Aboriginal. You're part of your RAP, and you're being guided by them. So you're starting to develop relationships. You're starting to show understanding. I was not sure if I was going to get anything out of this RAP, and I'm so glad I did. Do not put it off. Do your RAP.
Final thing is, what message would you like early childhood educators to walk away with around reconciliation and working with Aboriginal people?
So early childhood educators and teachers, any professionals, early childhood professionals, you're working with the next generation, and we need new generations to come up who show respect for the First Nations people. For the First Nations people, this is the country. We show respect to traditions. We show respect to the country that we're on. We start to show respect to this country. You must do that. You must understand that if it doesn't happen, you're still not making any change. So please be part of change.
Cool. Thank you, Maree, for talking to us today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you very much.
And hi, guys. Welcome to our interview tonight. Tonight, I'm interviewing Maree Wiggins, who is one of the Reconciliation Ambassadors. Good evening, Maree.
Hi, AJ. It's great to be here.